whole lot of rain. And I figured today would be a good day to work on some interior projects. And one of the projects I want to do is using the Preservation Solutions products to finish some really nice pieces. Some of them are cookies and some of them, I guess you could call them like a on a log where a branch comes out on an angle, and I milled across it so it left like a spur. I call it a branch spur. So I've got all the tools right here to do the work on this big old, and it's a blackjack oak. So some of you, I kind of figured I would do the video because some of you are interested in using some of the products from Preservation Solutions. So I haven't done a video on using these products for a while. A while back, this past Christmas, and so the prior year and a half before that, I made some really big cherry cookies, and I made tables out of them, and a lot of people bought them. So I'll just put this up on the screen. So this is the company and the products that we're going to be using today. You can freeze the screen and look at it if you want, but you can go to their website, and they have a lot more information on their website about their products. So I figured I would go through the setup on how to get set up and use their products. So hopefully the live will stream properly. I'm out here in the shed. We do have broadband, and I don't have a direct link. So I'm going to try to go to my laptop real quick here and see if I can get it to go over to the live so that if you leave comments, I can see the comments. So it just takes a little bit of time to get set up every once in a while to do this. I'm trying to use my phone's internet for the live and the mobile feed for the laptop. So we'll see how long that lasts. So let me switch out here on the glasses. So they make a number of projects, or a number of products at which you can treat your material with. So they have the pentacryle, which is going to be for your greener wood. Say you went over to the mill yesterday and you cut a bunch of lumber and cookies or whatever, and you wanted to treat them. So they're going to be up in the 30% and maybe higher, high 38, 32, depending on how long the log has been sitting down. So, oh, got a bug in my eye. Today we're actually going to be working with the blackjack oak, which you might have saw one of the videos on where I had it all set up. Well, I made a few cuts off that branch section, and I have them here with me, and they're not really a cookie because I didn't slice through the round. I cut through a branch on an angle. So we'll get set up, but I want to go through a couple of their products, okay, real quick. The two that I would be using in this case, and I'll go through the process of determining which one to use. So some of the things that you want to do is, like, I put plastic down on my shelf here. So you just get some cheap plastic or something to put down your shelf, because you're going to put the product on, that you're getting ready to treat, on top of it, and you don't want it getting in all your wood and all your other, in your table and all that. Second is you're going to want something to wrap these up with, because you want them to dry slow. You don't want them to dry all suddenly. So I just go get, some people use this for like when they're working on their home or something, and they roll it out on the floor and they tape it down to protect the floor when they're working on it. Some people use it for wrapping presents. It's just basically a heavier brown paper and a roll. Since I do a lot of this, I bought a big roll of it. So you're going to want to wrap it up in that. You're going to want some kind of a tape. And up here I have 2 rolls of tape not these rolls, not the flying rolls, but just regular, you know, packing tape. So we'll have that, so we can put those back up there. I kind of booby trapped myself there a little bit. So you got your paper to wrap your product in after you're done working it. Then you have some tape to tape it up like a giant Christmas present. It's pretty much, it's going to be a giant Christmas present that you put away for a year or two. So I have to give a shout out. They do have end grain sealer. You see me use this a lot when I'm at the mill and stuff. When I paint the end grains, you want to help use this to help prevent, not guaranteed. It helps to prevent checking at the ends of the boards after you cut them. So you want to use that for that. And I'm just going to show an example because I like testing products to see what the capability they have are. So I had some of these. I just cut the same thing. I just cut the end of a branch on a tree where it was humped up, and I painted the whole thing with the end grain sealer just to see how, if it would help preserve the board. And it did okay. It's got a little bit of a check to it there, but that kind of was almost naturally there. So it kind of worked. I was just messing around, seeing if you put it on a flat board, if it helped prevent any warping. You know, you're checking your products out. You're trying to see what you can get away with, what you can't. So they basically make two different types of wood fortifying products, okay? One is what a lot of you have probably heard about in the past is wood juice. Now wood juice is going to be for some of your products that are your projects that are probably around 26% or less. So they're going to be something that maybe a log you had laying out or something sitting around for a while. That you can treat with that because it's a lower percentage of moisture. So the wood juice works good for that. Something you might want to pick up. I think I paid $24 for this moisture meter because you're going to need it, because you're going to better have to tell the amount of moisture in your project. So the second, and this is what I use the most of, and of course you see it's a 5-gallon jug. There's not a lot left in there, but I have several more of these. So in order to determine which one of those products you want to use on your project, you need a moisture meter. So I'm going to heave this heavy project up here. Like I said, this is a blackjack oak, okay? So if this tree was sitting down in log form for about 9 months, okay? So I can feel it's got a little bit of moisture in it, but we don't want to just go by that. We want to get the moisture meter out. Now is when we're going to determine what products we're going to use to treat this with. And like I said, this is blackjack oak, so it's very unique. This was that. If you go back and look at the videos, you'll see where this tree got ripped over with a big giant cherry tree. It was a property line marker, and it had been bent over. And this is the section that was bent over. In other words, it came up and it went over in a 90. So that's how I ended up with this piece here. So let's check it. Check the moisture in it. So I have this set for hardwood. Now this one will do hardwood, it'll do softwood, and it will do like packing or framing for your house and all that to check it. So this is a hardwood, so you set it on hardwood. So we're going to put it into the hardwood. And we're getting right around 19% there. But this is towards the outside, so let's check it here. Around 18%. So like I said, this log was sitting for a while. And that's around 20%. So we're still well within using the wood juice. So, and that's kind of, you know, I don't know everything. So when it comes to some of this wood, especially oak, um, I'm just trying to see if I can keep it in log form for a while, and then start processing it after it's sat a while. If it's it takes a little less time till you get to the point to where you can use it. So in this case, by leaving this sit out, the log in itself initially lost probably 15 to 20%, because a lot of times when you cut a tree down, the tree's going to be somewhere, depending on the type of time of year it is, it's going to be somewhere around 38%, somewhere in that neighborhood. So letting it sit for 9 months, you'd be surprised how much it would dry internally, and as a whole how it would dry. So now you're going to get to see how pretty the blackjack oak is, because as soon as I add this liquid to it, it's going to really show itself off. And I'm going to try to move it over here so you can see it. So of course you need a sacrifice paintbrush, because once you use this product, you're not going to use it for painting. It does water and soap. It will clean up with water and soap, but you're not going to paint with your paintbrush again, okay? So don't plan on doing that. So this one's going to need a little bit of epoxy work, which is fine. I've got 2 of them here, so we're going to do this one, and then we're going to start on them. Put it this way, this is a multi-part series, because I'm going to explain to you what I have discovered using this product and what seems to work best when it comes to doing stuff other than cookies. So I have some white oak slabs out there that I treated. That's where the majority of this went, on those white oak slabs. They've been out air drying for about 1.25 years. So 1 year and 4 months. They've been out air drying, and we'll do a follow-up on those for too long. And they're looking really good. The checks have been really minimal on them, which I'm very impressed, because those are some of the first actual slabs I've done using this product. So we're going to use the wood juice, and I've got a little bit left here. They do sell it in 32 ounces, and then they sell it in the gallon. Now for this size project right here, as big as this would not be enough to properly soak this to the point where you'd be happy with the results. So what I've determined, based on doing the slab and based on doing some of the other larger pieces, you're going to have to do, basically what it comes down to is you're going to soak this and the other side till it penetrates all the way through. I set it aside, I put cardboard over it overnight, and then I came back the next day and did another round on both sides. That seems to have allowed the solution to really get in and penetrate the wood really good, to where you're now replacing what moisture was in there with this product. So this product basically is replacing the moisture and stabilizing the wood. So what that does in the end result is like not taking all the moisture out of it. You're replacing it with a product that won't expand or check or crack. So that's how you keep your cookies and your projects that you're doing from checking and cracking and falling apart. So you're basically replacing the moisture with this product. So the better you do at doing that, the better results you're going to get. So now this is the point when you're making all the decisions on how well this is good project's going to come out. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use up the rest of this, and then, well, it's the same stuff. So I do sell this. If any of you guys are local that watch it, I do sell this at the at my booth location. So in this case, I would say you would need 2 of these. So that'd be 64 ounces. Of course, this is 1 gallon. So could you maybe soak it come back and soak it an hour later, and sheet. Would this probably be enough? Possibly, but you're and you're not going to know it until it's too late, years down the line, when you go to work this project, whether it's going to check or not. So if you skimp on this, then you'll find out when it's late. So now is the time to make the correct decision on fixing this. If you go to Preservation Solutions website, they do have a calculator that tells you how much, and that's generally for a cookie, it tells you how much wood juice or penacryl or how much product you need to properly treat the projects that you have. So, okay. So I guess let's get to the fun part. Since this is a new brush and I don't want to ruin it, this is a older brush that I've used it before, even though it's smaller. It'll work fine. So we're just going to start treating it now. And basically, this is ingrain because it's a cookie. So what's going to happen is the stuff's going to penetrate straight through the ingrain. That's the most porous part of the wood. So being this isn't 100% say a cookie because it was kind of sliver, it's still ingrain. It still was the branch where the branch came out. Still mostly ingrain. So you just start pouring it on there. And you can just watch it. It'll just start soaking it right in there. This is the fun part because this is the part where you're going to see one day when you go to work with this how pretty it's going to be because this is basically like putting gloss finish on it. So I'm just leaving it sitting there. You don't really have to brush it in. So I will penetrate this and coat this really well until I start seeing it come through the other side. So it's not coming through yet, but we'll do this for a little while. I do have it up on some boards. I don't want it flat on here. And we'll just keep pouring it on there. We're going to do this one section pretty heavy because I want you to see as it starts to come through the other side. You see, it soaks it up pretty quick. And some of you may ask, will it help the bark stay on? From my experience with the cherry cookies, I soaked it in really good into the bark as well, and I had no problem with retaining the bark on the project. If you can see, it soaks quite a bit in. But I just try to get it in the bark here a little bit. It doesn't necessarily have to go down the bark. I just over poured it. But you can just watch it soak right in. And that's what you want. You got to imagine this has to go, this piece right here is 2 inches thick. You want this to go all the way through your project. You want the wood to be completely saturated with this material. And like I said, based on my experience over the last several years since I started working with them, it takes a good, especially with oak. I found cherry, if you want to do cherry cookies or maple cookies, I found that stuff is, that wood is a lot easier. It doesn't require quite as a strenuous coating of this. I mean, it goes through it all the way, but when you get to your oaks, you're going to have to spend a little bit more time and money getting enough finish into the wood. Because, everybody knows maple and cherry dries a lot faster than oak does. And this is what I say, this is a blackjack oak. It's some pretty stuff. I did cut some of the logs up to split on the wood splitter, and it's white oak times 2 when it comes to splitting it. It does not like to split. So But it'll soak right in there. Well, this is one of them things that's just going to take a little bit of time. Like I say, I just kind of work it back and forth. Get it in the bark along the sides. Your hardwood's going to take a little bit longer for it to soak into. Of course, it's a hardwood; it's more dense. But you got to be patient. This isn't something that you can just hurry up and go through. We'll just let it kind of soak in. We got any NASCAR fans out there? You see my Dale Earnhardt Sr. We used to collect so much of their stuff. We used to go to all the races. And now we got Cletus in there. Anybody watch his channel? Yeah. It's got everybody excited about NASCAR again. One of my favorite YouTubers. Lots of energy. That young man has a lot of energy. You just keep soaking it in. We'll check it here just a minute and see if it's starting to come through the other side. You got to get it worked out in here. Now, probably the most important part of this is always going to be towards your heart, because your sapwood is going to dry a lot faster than your heartwood. So it's really important that you try to get your heartwood really saturated, really good. This stuff will be more porous out here, the sapwood, but just keep working it back and forth. And this is one of these pieces this is like a one in a lifetime. This particular pieces that I'm making now is like one in a lifetime situation, because of the nature of the tree, where it came from, what it represented. So I haven't really decided yet on what kind of base I'm going to put under it, but I would like to find some kind of an older stump that came down and keep it all natural, and do like a nice natural stump that this will sit on. So, and it's going to go up in the house and stay with the home, because it represents kind of part of the history of the home. Let's let this stuff get in there. I don't know if I have enough room here to put both of them up here, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. I've got another one right here. Gloves, forgot to mention those. I'm being careful not to get it in my hands. It hasn't bothered me. Some people are more sensitive to chemicals than others. I do have the door wide open. I have a window and a fan running behind you, forcing fresh air in. Do not do this in your house or your basement of your house. Please don't. I don't want any wives mad at me now. Don't do this in your home in any kind of way. I don't care if you got fans or not. Do not do this in the basement in your house, and do not do it in the garage of your house. Just do it out in the shed or out in the open air. I'm doing it in here today because it's simply pouring down rain, and I think it's supposed to pour down rain for the next 3 days. So this looks like a perfect project to work on during this time. I'm going to put a few things away. We're going to flip this up on its side here in a second, and we'll take a look underneath to see how it came out, or see if it's coming through it yet. I've got a lot of cleanup. When you get done with the winter, you work in your shop all during the winter, and everything gets to be a mess. So I'm going to set this aside here. I'm going to see if I can kind of reorientate that over here, and we'll get into looking underneath it in a second. Got a bunch of And a bucket full of stickers I like to put stuff on. Sitting here. Let's see. All right, let's roll it up on its side. I didn't want all this pouring off of it. So there we go. See how you're starting to see it coming through here? Of course, it's not coming through the heartwood as fast. That's why I like to do 2 coats in 24 hours. Because this, for one, this is a very dense material I'm working with. And again, you want to do a really good job at this point. Because this will make the difference whether you get a good project or you don't. And a year or two from now, if it's got some massive checks in it because you skimped and tried to do a really quick job, well, you can't go back. So let's move this one here, and it's not like. Let's see, I get that underneath there. So we'll get the second one up here. I have a third one, but unfortunately my blade decided to start cutting crooked on the sawmill, and I got a hump in it, so I've got to take and fix the tensioner on it. All right, now this one right here is a little bit thicker than that one. This one I made. This one's about 2.5 inches thick. So this one's a little bit thicker, and you can see it's about a 1/2 inch thicker. One day, I want to build something now, but that's just not the way it works. One day, these are going to be absolutely beautiful projects. So, to me, this is well worth the money for what it cost. These. I got stuff running over. I'm talking. This is why I have the plastic, but I don't like wasting it. All right, let's push it on there, push it on there, push it on there. What I need to do is it's not level. I'm in a shed. You ever had a shed settle on you? Well, this one has. So, it's just a glorified shed is all it is. So, and I painted on all this, like there's a bark intrusion there. I still want to get it on my laptop. That's probably not a good thing. The laptop probably won't function too good with a bunch of liquid in it. I'm trying to see. Let me try to scroll real quick here while I'm doing that. I'm trying to get rid of the Alright. Sometimes I need multi-glasses in order to see. Let me switch here. Let me switch to my other binoculars so I can actually read this. Sorry about it. I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to see if anybody wants to chat or not. So we'll just leave those off. So like I said, this is the heartwood here. It's going to soak in pretty quick into here. It's going to take a lot longer to soak into that heartwood. So this is, I'm just going to label this video as day one, first start of the project. It'll probably be a 3-part series. We'll come tomorrow. It's supposed to rain every day, so tomorrow we'll do another live, and I'll eventually do this be videos. What on earth? I was trying to figure out what these little crystal looking things are on here. Huh. I must have dumped something on there. I would take the phone off the holder and bring it down closer, but I have a tendency to hit the buttons on the side, and if I do that, I could end the live or mess up my screen. So what I will probably do is tomorrow, when we go to do the second half of this and we go to finish applying the product, and we go to wrap it up and get it sealed, and I'll talk about that and how important that is. I'll get you a really good close-up. So well, let's see where this one's at. I should have brought a water out. I didn't. Let's see if we got anything coming through this one yet. Yeah, so we're starting to get it to come through here on this side. So I will be putting it on the other side as well real quick in this video, but just it's one of these projects where it's just a project of love. You have to take, it takes the time it takes to do the project. You know, soaking it is just so key. I can't emphasize taking the time to soak your project properly and get a good concentration of the solution. It is so important at this point in time. Let's take a look at this one here and see if it's come through this one a little bit more. Yeah, still mainly just coming through here, but we'll flip it over now. We'll do the other side. Alright, try to slide everything down just a little bit. I'm trying to keep it close enough so you guys can see it, but I don't want to rip my plastic either. So you can see how it's come through here. Sapwood, heartwood, not so much. And this is why I've learned by working with this and doing this and pushing it, trying not to use enough solution or trying to do other stuff. I've made the mistakes already, so now you can take my lesson and learn from it. There's no substitute for being in a hurry with this. You have to apply the product correctly. So this is the gallon. For a project like this, I would guesstimate a full gallon would be close to being enough. I believe it would. These run, depending if you look on Amazon or if you were to buy them from me locally, in the $84 to $86, somewhere in that range. Don't quote me on it, because things change. It could be going down, it could go up. But that seems to be the general ballpark as far as what this stuff costs. So now you could be a little fancier than me, and you could get you a little ladle or something that has a pouring. You could pour this into that and dump that on there. So let's start on this one. And I generally just go right down the middle and let it spread out. I say this countertop is, I'm in a shed. So it's on blocks, but the blocks have probably settled over some time. But man, this is going to be some really pretty projects. Like I say, before we wrap it up tomorrow, we're just doing the first coats today. Before we wrap it up tomorrow, I'll give you a really nice close look of it. With my experience with my cell phone, if I grab it right now and try to carry it over here, I'll end up doing something on the settings. So, like I said, just get it into the bark, into your bark here really good. And so far, I've had really good success with keeping the bark on. Now, this is oak, that was cherry, so don't hold me to it that that'll be the way it goes. Hopefully it will stay on there, because I like to have the bark on it. I like it to look as natural as the day I took it down for building with. Now I don't normally dump it in like right here, when you've got it through here. I'll pour it on there and just kind of wipe some in there as I go along. Just kind of work it down inside here and get it all on the sides. It's got kind of a strong smell, but it's not horrible smell. It doesn't burn your nose or anything, but you definitely want, I got a window there and I got a small fan running and I have the door open. I have another fan and a window over there running on low. You do want to do this, like I said, in a well ventilated area. It's really important that you do that. And you can see this one's really soaked it up really good. Now this is new for me too, as far as the species and finishing the wood. I don't have any experience with blackjack oak or any of the oaks finishing them with this. So the white oak slabs that I'm going to build a giant table out of, I have now a year and a half into, and I can see the results, and I'm really happy with it. The boards aren't warping. There's hardly any checks in them. There's knots in the boards, and there's no checks coming from the knots. So all indications are that these are going to come out when they're dry and everything's ready. They're going to look just like they do today when I go to finish them. At least that's the expectation. I have very little doubt that won't be the case, put it that way. Based on the several years of using this product, I think we're good. So let's go ahead and flip this one over in case you're just joining. You kind of see how we started. It is not light. I can tell you that right now. In no kind of way is this wood light. I'm breaking off some of the bark as I'm picking it up. That's probably not good. If any of you have worked with this product before, or have worked with the blackjack oak or is familiar with it, let me know. Leave some comments. Let me know, because some of you may have a lot more experience with this than me. This is the fun part, honestly, because I get to see the preview of what it's going to look like when it's finished. So that's the fun part. Even though you got to wait a couple years to get to the point of this, but they say all good things in life are worth waiting for. So this, to me, I think is going to be worth waiting for. So, and these won't be for sale. These are actually going to be, like I said, they're going to stay here with the home. Because of the historical significance of this tree. Now I have a huge log section left too, and I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it as of the moment. It's sitting on the sawmill bench. like I said, my tensioner, so somehow it's either losing prime or it's losing its ability to keep the blade tension up. So I've got to call some of the Wood Miser engineers and try to figure out. I can't find any specific leaks where I can point my finger at it and go, that's leaking. There's our problem. I can't seem to. I haven't got that. So I believe it's leaking somewhere internally in the block. It's losing fluid, but I don't really know where, because when I'm running water on the sawmill, everything's wet anyways. So, and when you're cutting a lot of these oaks and stuff like that, you got to use water, or your blade will get too hot. I mean, those are definitely some unique pieces. Now, the one that the blade kind of curved up on, and luckily it made it thicker than I wanted, so now I can just once I get the blade situation, I can make another cut. And that one is this one by probably 4 inches all the way around. So I have another one when I get it fixed. It's going to be even bigger than that one there. So pretty excited. Pretty exciting. I'll put my gloves on and hold one up for you guys to see a little closer here. Let me just let this stuff soak in for a while. Pretty good project for a rainy day. I'll probably refill this from the gallon. This is a little easier to work with. I got to find a funnel. So let's see. How long have we been on here? 42 minutes. I want to try to keep this under an hour. So like I said, tune in tomorrow too, and we'll do the second coat, and I'll go through a little bit more about the product when it comes to doing the finish on it, based on some of the large cherries and some other stuff that I finished. I'll give you some tips and stuff on when you go to do the final finish, what seems to work best with this. Some unique characters about the wood after it's dry, using this product, which is all good. It's all good. But yeah, I mean, look at that. Now this is a smaller one, so I'm going to try to hold it up for you guys to see. So be a little patient with me. Hopefully I won't drop it. Move this stack. I got a vacuum down here. Move that out of the way. We'll try to stand it up so you can see it before we head out. There you go. So that's the prize that we're heading for. And it ain't light. I can tell you that right now. That's our prize at the end. Pretty much close to very much what it's going to look like. This is 2.5 inches thick. This one's 2 inches thick. So in tomorrow's video, we'll talk about the drying times, what to expect, and all the next step other than this step. So this is the first step. We're doing the preliminary soaking of these two pieces of wood. This is blackjack oak. I'll have another piece, but I got to get the mill fixed so I can cut it, fix it, and it should be good from there. But we are using the Preservation Solutions wood juice, so to get you up close so you can see it. All right. A phone call came in and it actually interrupted my live, which I've never experienced that before. So sorry. Hopefully it came back up. As I was saying, this is the wood juice from Preservation Solutions. So this is for treating material that's under 26-ish, 24-inch, 24% moisture. If you had material that was freshly cut and green, then you would use the Pentacrop. So this would be for more greener and wetter, fresh cut material. And you can see I've been through almost 5 gallons. I've used probably 5 of these in the last couple of years. So I do a lot of cookies and a lot of stuff. So yeah. So I do recommend, if you have sensitive skin, you wear gloves. These are probably not exactly the right gloves, but they're good enough for me. And let's recap real quick for those that maybe joined in later. I do want to have you some brown wrapping paper for the next step when we go to seal it up and put it away. I want to have you some good heavy duty tape, because you're going to want to wrap it up in a couple layers of that. I will probably use a combination of that and some thick cardboard, because I got a bunch of boxes from all the legs and stuff that I buy for my project. So I'll put cardboard on both sides and then we'll wrap it up. So that's day one. I do appreciate everybody watching. I want to keep this under an hour because it's been a while. So we got one coat on each side. It's been about 47 minutes, 45 minutes. So we've allowed that to soak in from each side. And I'm going to get a piece of cardboard and put on both sides for this afternoon. And we will pick up where we left off this time tomorrow on the next process of this project. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and hopefully you gained some knowledge and you enjoyed the show, because I enjoyed putting it on for you. This stuff is a real pleasure to work with, because I do know the results at the end of years. I mean, drying, come on, it's a couple inches thick. So I do know the end result is well worth it. So if you're considering doing this stuff, there you go. You got something to look forward to. I hope you guys have a great day. It is just pouring down rain outside. It's supposed to be that way, I guess, through Thursday. And today is Wednesday. So possibly even Friday morning. Oh, there goes the finger to stop. There you go. See you later.